When I built the Tapout, I did the same thing that I did all my baits. I built 100 different versions and prototypes, and I play with them and test them and fish with them until I find one that I really, really love. And what I've always loved about this style of crankbait, you know, your deeper diving coffin bill crankbait, is fishing offshore cover. Not just fishing offshore, but fishing offshore cover. The other thing I've loved about this bait is it has a different action than pretty much any other, I'm gonna call a deep category, deep cranking plug. You know, it's not wide. It doesn't have a lot of wobble. Most all your big deep baits have a lot of wobble and a lot of thump, and there's times when that's great. There's also times when a tighter action bait like this, you notice this bait's somewhat flat. It's not truly flat, but somewhat flat. Have a little bit more subtle action, a little bit tighter action, and will generate more bites, especially when these fish start to get grouped up in these offshore, you know, haunts, be it points, ledges, shell beds, whatever. When they get grouped up, everybody can find them because there's a bunch of them there. They're easy to see on your electronics, and they get a lot of pressure. Sometimes you need a bait that's different to not only key more bites, but to get those bigger fish in that school to fire and eat a bait. So we're going into the summer months right now. The Tapout is absolutely a summertime player. You know, I use it other times of the year, but I love it in the summertime. When I finalize this bait, if you look at it, it's probably kind of hard to see, but if you look at this bait, it's actually got more width back here than it does in the front. You don't see many crankbaits built that way. I built it this way for a purpose. By moving the width of the body, by making it wider further back and skinnier in the face, what you've done is you've changed the buoyancy characteristics of this bait. So the strongest sense of buoyancy now is more in the back third, whereas most crankbaits is in the front third. Here's why that matters. When you crank this plug into a brush pile and you stop it, it goes under a limb. This bait has an extremely good reverse float characteristic. Because it's made out of wood, when you move more material back here, you move more buoyancy back here. Now you've got a bait that will back out of cover extremely well. So if you're looking for a good summertime crankbait, you want to try something a little different, you want something that maybe you can crank in brush piles with a little bit more confidence, try the Tapout. You know, I really think you'll like it. I have fell in love with it. I've already caught a ton of fish on it. You know, I spent all last summer kind of perfecting it and getting it just how I wanted it before I released it this year. And you know, they're starting to get here where I live now. I live in Mississippi, and they're starting to get offshore and they're starting to get grouped up, and that's just going to continue to progress further north, you know, as the summer goes along. So we're coming into the time of year where this bait really shines, and you know, it's a great plug for fishing that offshore cover.